What's up, you guys? Zoeb here from OneGlanceTrader.com, and I'm really excited to be kicking off episode 1 of how to grow a £500 account. And in this video, you'll go through one of the trades that I've done, and I go through it live so you guys can see on the screen of my analysis, take profit, stop losses, hedging, all that kind of good stuff. You'll find out in this video one of these trades that I'll walk you guys through. So the reason why I've kind of created this journal is that the feedback I get from the majority of my audience that they have around, between 500 to £1,000, euros or dollars to kind of invest inside the Forex market. And so what I wanted to do was kind of walk you guys through, as live as best as I can of me loading up a £500 account and walking you guys through the analysis and the trades and all that kind of good stuff that I'm doing. One big risk or caveat I like to put in place is that Forex trading requires a huge amount of risk, and for me, I could potentially blow up this account because I am trading a bit more slightly differently. The analysis is exactly the same, but the actual money management side of things for this particular account is going to be a little bit more riskier. So and again, I'll walk through all of that with you guys, and just want to make sure that if you guys put any money into the Forex market or any financial markets, that it is money that you can afford to lose, you can sleep at night, and you don't have to worry about if you wake up the next day and then your account balance is zero. So for me, £500, if worst case happened and I did blow this account, and if I do blow this account, I will show you guys live that I've blown this account, so you can see the mistakes that I made in this account, so you don't do that inside your trading as well. Because again, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to grow this to £600 and then it will blow, or get it to 1,000 then blow. I don't know. At the moment, I'm just doing it and I'm just rolling with it, and we'll see what happens. So please do not invest with money that you cannot afford to lose. So if this means that you just you save £50 a month from your salary or something like that till you build up a £500 account to go into trading with, do things like that. Don't start putting your savings and stuff like that into there, because it's not a get rich quick scheme. And besides all the things that you see in other YouTube channels and things like that, of them putting ridiculous lot sizes on and things like that. So that's just the only caveat I want to put in place. So what I want to do is just quickly show you the account, where we are, where the status is, and then we'll jump into the charts for a live trade that I recorded today. So as you guys can see, that I loaded up the account with £500 in June the 24th. We are recording this video on the 11th of July. So just under a month, I have made £22.23. So that's just under 4.5% return. So £22 doesn't really seem that exciting, but what does excite me is that in under a month, I've made 4.5% return. And that's the bit I want you guys to kind of take away from this, is the percentage return. Because if this was a £5 account, a 10 grand account, a 30, 40, 50 grand account, then 4.5% return is actually quite a bit of decent money. So it's all about then starting small, scaling, and then when you get comfortable with it, and the analysis and your trading and managing trades, etc., you start to get comfortable with that, and you're starting to see decent returns, or a bit of consistency, then you can look at either putting more money in, or just trading with a bit of a higher risk. So for me, 4.5% return in just under a month is for me is absolutely fantastic. You try find me a bank or anything, or hedge funds and stuff like that are producing 4.5% kind of returns, especially in this type of market as well. So what I want to do now is just walk you through in terms of the kind of trading strategies, and then we'll kick off to the live video. So initially, when I first started the account, I was using my RSI MTF EA. Again, I'll link to that in the description or on the top right corner, so you guys can see that journal. So I was doing automated trading, and as you can see, that got me a fair chunk of change at the beginning. And then what I decided to do was, I decided that I wanted to do a bit more kind of manual trading and kind of record it for you guys, and kind of walk you through my analysis and things like that, because the RSI MTF EA only really uses the RSI MTF indicator, whereas it doesn't really take into account divergence or long-term trends for using the trend dashboard, as you can see over here. And again, I wanted to kind of bring in all my other indicators and give you guys a more Confluence picture of why I've gone into this trade. So, kind of the rest of these kind of trades over here are all different currency pairs based on alerts that I'm getting and things like that. And again, I'm not sitting on the charts and watching it. What I'm doing is I set up my charts, I get the alert on my phone, I come to the charts, do a bit more analysis, and again, I'll walk you through all of that analysis as well. So I've recorded a few of these kind of trades already, and over the next coming days or weeks, I will release those videos out so you guys can see how these trades unfolded inside real time effectively. But that's what I want to kind of do based on how much time I've got to sit in front of the charts and record for you guys. I'll try to do that as much as possible. Worst case, if I can't record it live, I will then shoot a video after it and then walk you through the process and put the lines of where I put my take profits and entries and all that kind of good stuff in there. And one last thing is I have recently inside my more recent trades have been using the zone recovery EA to kind of get me out of trouble if things do not go my way in terms of my analysis, and then I've tried to get out at break even. So I've got a few examples of where that's happened, where I predicted the price to go long or short. It's unfortunately gone the other way, triggered the zone recovery EA to kind of then manage the trade and get me out at break even. So that's where the risk element, on my main account, I don't trade the zone recovery EA. I kind of have a traditional stop loss in place. So that's just kind of the main kind of caveat, where this one's a bit more risk, whereas I want to start using the zone recovery EA more. But using a £500 account gives me more of a risk-free environment to kind of trade this kind of system live. So without further ado, let's get on to the last trade. And again, I won't scroll up to the top because then it'll spoil the kind of answer of how the trade kind of how the kind of trade played out. So enjoy the live trade. Please comment, subscribe, and I'll look forward to your feedback. So I've got another trend trade for you guys on the USD Chef 30-minute chart. As you can see here, I've gone short at this level over here. I did get in a bit late. Ideally, I would have got in at the close of this bar over here, because then we can see that the RSI was out of overbought territory on the 30-minute chart. And what these arrows indicate, they are from my OGT RSI MTF indicator, which signifies that price is overbought or oversold on multiple time frames. And the way I've set this particular chart up is that it's overbought in this example on the current time frame, which is the 30-minute, and also on the 1 hour chart. So the reason why that this is a trend trade and a short trade is down to, you can firstly see on the actual dashboard that the overall market trend is down on this particular currency pair. If we head over to the hourly chart, you can see here that that we are kind of respecting this kind of line over here, and price formed a nice little pin bar over there, hopefully to make its move down to trying to get to this previous lows over here. So what I also like about this trade is that we do have classic regular bearish divergence of price. If I can actually click the right button, price is making higher highs, and as you can see here, the MACD is making lower highs. So we're expecting a move down, and I've gone with the path of least resistance with the H1, H4 daily, all currently still bearish. So in terms of my take profit and stop loss, or not a stop loss rather, so in traditional way, what I would do is put a stop loss above the highs, which I have there, and then the take profit line at the moment is at this level over here, this kind of green line. So what I've done this time is, as I've kind of shown you guys, is I'm using the zone recovery EA to kind of get me out of this trade if it goes against me. So traditionally I'll put a stop loss over here where I would, if it price gets back to that level, I would lose. I think in this case it's roughly around, you know, just under 2% of my account. Whereas what happens now is it's going to open a, you can probably see it above, I think. Oh, I've not got it up there. It's got a pending buy, pending buy stop over here at just slightly higher lot size. So then it will then, you know, hopefully if price then continues to go long, therefore it will get me out of this trade, and basically I'm hedging my trade. So, and this between my entry and this buy stop is now the window. So I'm expecting price eventually to break out of this kind of box over here, but hopefully I don't need to activate that, and price will continue to go down and hit my take profit target. What I've also put into play is I've used this line alert indicator, which is free on the MQL5 website. Again, I'll link to that below. I've set this at just around halfway, so when if price gets and touches this bar, I will get an alert on my phone, which basically what I'm going to do then is turn off the EA. I'm going to modify this order and set a stop loss, and I'll move my stop loss to break even, and then my plan is to trail this particular trade manually and try to extract as much profit as I can out of it. So the next step for me is for price to get to this line and therefore take all my risk off this trade, and therefore manage this trade manually. And again, if price does go against me, then I do have a fail-safe system in place to hopefully hedge me and kind of get me out at break even. So this is a risky strategy because again, price could just continue to range in this motion and keep creating buy and sell trades. So again, it's not something I strongly advise, but again, I'm playing with a very small account, and you know, it's with money I can afford to lose. So if I do lose or blow this account, it's not going to impact me. I can still eat, I can still sleep at night, not having to worry about the amount that I've lost. And that's the key thing about trading. Is that kind of element. So again, it's something I want to kind of experiment with, and you know, and I wanted to do this live, but traditionally I would put a stop loss in place as opposed to this this buy stop. But let's see how we get on. I should stay tuned, and you know, we'll see what happens on the conclusion of this trade. So just to give you guys an update on this trade, as you can see, price has now fallen, and what I've done is I've disabled the EA, as you can see by this sad smiley face, and removed the buy stop at the top. I've now added in a stop loss, as you can see in this red line here, just underneath my entry. So worst case scenario, I will make 28p profit. So all my risk is off the table. This was the original take profit line here, so I'm just going to keep that on there so you guys can have a look. I need to go out now, so I'll probably manage this on my phone, or I might just let this thing go, and worst case, if it goes back and hits my stop loss, I will at least not lose any money on this trade. So things are going as expected for now, and hopefully this will continue to push down for the rest of the day, but we'll see what happens. So stay tuned. So just to give you guys a conclusion of how this trade ended, as you can see now that I have been stopped out at £3.64p profit. So just to give you guys an update on what exactly happened after the last video, you can see here that price made a low at this level over here. So this green line is my initial take profit line, and price went, you know, around 12 pips more as part of the stop. Then it started to retrace and then closed at this level over here. So what I did was, as you'll remember, I had my stop loss just underneath the entry, and this white line signifies my original entry. I then moved the stop loss above the high of this bar over here, which is signified by this white line. And then you can see what happened is the next bar completely was a strong bullish bar and stopped me out, and then price continued to go up for the rest of the day. And I'm glad I moved my stop loss, because as you can see, price went all the way back up to my entry, and then started to, you know, sell off again at this level. So, you know, overall disappointed that, you know, I didn't at least make my initial take profit target. So if I left this trade as just to play out, I would have made a little bit more profit. However, you know, for me, I took all my risk off the table, and it was a risk-free trade at the end of the day. So I think if this continued to push down, I would have then trailed my stop further to bag in more pips. So they're all not going to work out in the way that you wanted. I guess, for me, the second best scenario was that I did secure some profit, and this was, about 0.5, 0.6% of my account balance bagged in there. So, really happy with that. I was able to achieve some profit. And for me, as you guys know, that I don't like to trail my stops. I like to have a fixed take profit target and a fixed stop loss or a fixed hedge recovery system in place. So I'm going to start doing more of that to see if I can start capturing in some bigger moves. So I've been looking at different ways of how to trail and things like that. So once we get more into that, then I will start looking at that type of thing for you. One of the things that I probably should have done was drop down to a lower time frame, and moved my stop accordingly based on how this trend was looking on lower time frames. I might have got stopped out around this area. So again, there are benefits and disadvantages of going down to lower time frames or giving your stop more room to breathe, so then you can capture bigger moves. But that's all yet to come as part of this journal. So really hope you've enjoyed this video, and watch out now for more live trading to come.